Hey, this is Dave Babbitt with Burke Equipment Company. We're about to go into part 2 of our Kubota SCL1000 walk around, which will be the vertical lift boom arm. We had so much information and so many features in this Kubota SCL1000. We really broke it up into 4 parts for the walk around. Hopefully you can go back and view our operator comfort. Then we have the vertical lift in part 2. We'll have the track system in part 3, and we'll have the maintenance in part 4. So right now, we'll just go ahead and get to the vertical lift boom arm, which is part 2. Dave Babbitt with Burke Equipment Company. I'm back in the operators area of the Kubota SCL1000, and the thing I wanted to concentrate on for this segment really are the boom arms, the vertical path lift boom arm of the Kubota SCL1000. And some of the advantages that might have. What's a vertical lift? Well, you have to appreciate what a vertical lift is, you have to know what a radius lift path is. And you probably have seen vertical lift, if you've been in this industry or an operator or an owner, vertical lift maybe versus radius lift in some of the larger loaders like a track loader or a rubber tire skid loader. This vertical lift path was designed and engineered pretty much just like our SVL lineup here. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go ahead and lift the boom arms on this machine, but I want to show you how easy it is with these controls. Now these controls are pilot controls. Now pilot controls, what's pilot controls? Basically you would have electric over hydraulic controls or pilot controls, which would be really all hydraulic. Pilot controls are superior. One thing is because they usually are smoother operating. Also, pilot controls are just more durable over the years. There's no, when you get into a lot of electric over hydraulic, in my experience selling a lot of track loaders and skid loaders over the years, I've sold electric over hydraulic and I have sold pilot controls. Pilot controls, you don't have to worry about electric. We know electric, sometimes it's hard to diagnose. The other thing with electric controls is electric over hydraulic controls is you can have a little bit of a delay. That's in the larger machines. So that's my experience with them. And then also when I did sell some electric over hydraulic machines, we had to replace actuators in there. Sometimes you'd have to replace the whole set of joysticks. With a pilot control machine like on the SVL series here, really almost bulletproof. I've never really had to do anything with those types of controls, and you get the smooth operation out of and much more response out of a pilot control machine. So that's what these are. I'm going to start this machine up, raise the boom arms up. We'll start talking about the booms, the vertical lift boom, and you're going to see the lift height, 84.7 inches of lift height on this machine. That's quite a bit. So let me go ahead and do that. Now I just have it down at idle. Now on this machine, you do have to have this machine down at 1500 RPMs or below to press the press to operate button for the functions. That's for safety. Then you can go over 1500 RPMs and it will tell you that. So I am down below 1500 RPMs. I'm just going to I'll raise my booms up here. I'll shut this machine down. Now, one thing I do want to do is when you have boom arms up in the air, you don't want to, if you come around this way, you don't want to walk under the boom arms. Don't do that. You got to have a lift arm safety support. Okay, so Kubota has a lift arm safety support here. I will put this in real quick just for our demonstration purposes. And just so we're nice and safe here. Now, the trick to this one is you really want to take this curved edge here, and you want to put that up and in first. You want to put the bottom end in last, and then you want to secure your boom arm support with these pins, and then also you don't want to lose the pins. So we're going to do that real quick, and now we're safe. I can go under here. Now, the second thing that you would want to check is if you got a bucket on this thing, make sure that this is secure. Now, if the bucket is on there, you're going to see the pins go down through the mounting holes of the bucket. You don't want that bucket falling on your head. So that's the next thing. We don't have a bucket here, so we're not worried about that. But I'm safe under this machine right now. Now we can talk about a couple things on this machine. The vertical lift path. So this is a cylinder, vertical lift cylinder. So why is vertical lift, well, better than a radius lift machine? I mean, it is far superior, and you're going to find a lot of machines on the market have gone to vertical lift. Throughout the big track loader lineup, like our Kubota SCL1000 there, or our rubber tire loaders. So that is the most popular. The reasons for that would be you're going to get a lot more lift capacity. You're actually going to get more lift height than a radius lift machine. And you're also going to get a lot more reach to dump into a center of a box when you're at that top lift height. So vertical lift is the way to go. How does it accomplish that? Okay, so you have cylinders that push up on a vertical lift. I don't have a radius lift machine here, but if I had one here, you'd have cylinders, boom arm cylinders, that kind of push out, right? They're kind of out. And what they tend to do is a radius lift machine, when it's lifting, lifts in a radius type fashion. So what it's going to do, if you follow my arm here, it's going to lift in a circle radius type fashion. It's going to push out. What ends up happening with a radius lift machine is now the weight, even at a mid-range height, is far out from the machine. You automatically cut down on lift capacity right there, because you can't, it's hard to get past that point with a heavy load. Then it comes back over the machine, and what it's doing there is it's cutting down on reach to dump into the center of a box, right? So that's the problem with a radius lift. You don't get the lift height, you don't get the power, and you don't get the reach. So if you can just kind of think of it as lifting a weight, if this would be a radius. If I had a dumbbell in my hand and I go like this and I'm trying to lift a dumbbell, I'm not going to be able to lift as much weight. Now if I go in a military type fashion, so that was a radius lift cylinder, if I go in a military type fashion and I'm pushing up like this machine, I'm going to be able to lift a lot more weight, right? In a military press you can lift more. When you're just doing a lateral raise like that, you lift less. That's pretty much what it comes down to. So vertical lift on this. The other things about this boom arm that we really love is the construction of the boom arm. I'll come around here, and if we want to focus on the way this boom is made, this is a sleeved boom, and that is the most durable way to make a boom arm. So engineered and constructed really well. And if you look at this boom, it is very similar to this SCL1000 here. I mean, it's just a smaller boom. I mean, it really is it's like the little brother. So they did a nice job with that. So you got the vertical lift, same thing there in the track loader. You have the sleeve boom design. And another thing is that now this is more the maintenance part of it, but on our track loaders, those are all recessed, easy to get to grease fittings. They also put that on the SCL1000. You're not going to have to fish around for your grease fittings, kind of wondering where they are. The grease fittings are easy to get to. If they're easy to get to, more likely you're going to go ahead and grease this machine. So we do love that about this machine. But the lift height on the machine, I'm 6 foot tall. This is, I mean, again, you can get into pretty much any dumpster, small truck. There's a lot of machines out there that just don't quite have this lift height, so it's going to be a big benefit for you. Now, I can go ahead and put this boom arm down really quick. I'll just set this to the side for now. Speed this up. I'll show you the front of this machine. So the boom arms are nice and stout in the front. There's a lot of protection up front here. But again, the sleeve boom design, and they give you a nice thick boom up front here, because that's where a lot of the load is going to go. And they give you a huge cross beam right here. So we really like that. Huge cylinder for your bucket cylinder. You'd be hard pressed to find cylinders that are that big on this 1,000 pound capacity machine. And there's a lot of nice protection that you do have for the cylinder. You can also see that the hoses are routed through the boom arm. So what does that mean? Well, that means the hoses aren't sticking out. There's not lines that are out there that you can bend and get caught up on, you know, branches, whatever you may run into. I mean, you can think of many ways to damage a hydraulic line. Well, it's going to be fewer and far between with the Kubota. So they've done a really nice job with that. The coupler. The quick coupler, Kubota gives you an option with the quick coupler on this machine. This is what I would call the universal mini loader coupler, quick coupler. Now this would attach your buckets and your attachments and things like that. You also have a 2-lever style, which they actually show you that you can get as an option for, there's really only one other manufacturer that uses that style. Most manufacturers do use the universal mini loader style here for mini loaders. And there's only really one that uses the, I shouldn't say one, but very few that use the 2-lever system. I prefer this style right here for this loader. I have sold a lot of the mini loaders that have had the 2 skid steer style hookup. The tolerances are very tight, and the springs get a lot of dirt in them, and it is tough to put those down and lift them up. And these are mini loaders. They don't really have hydraulic quick couplers. That was one of the best options that any, you know, in the skid loader, track loader market that has come out, was a hydraulic quick coupler for a big machine like that. Well, you don't really have them in this market. So we all remember the old days of trying to put those levers up and down, racking your knuckles or getting a pipe out to try to get those. This is so much simpler. You just twist these, and even after hundreds of hours of operation, they still wear really well, and you don't get a lot of that dirt caught up in there. And I find this much easier. That's just my opinion. I find it much easier to take your attachments off and put them back on than the 2-lever style. But for those that do have attachments, mini loader attachments that have that 2-lever style, Kubota does give you that option. It's not just an adapter either. So adapters, when you have adapters and you try to slide them over a coupler, what happens is they can stick out a little bit further. They can cut down on the breakout force. Maybe you don't want that. There are adapters out there that you could do that with, but Kubota, what they'll do is they'll replace this right here, and if you want a 2-lever style, that will just go right in here and replace this, so you're not cutting down on the breakout force of this machine. So it's a really nice feature there. You know, even on the coupler, they have a little Kubota logo, so they go that far with it. So, I mean, just the look of this machine, which I know that I already talked about and I love. You know, they even go down there. I mean, who's really going to see that? The bucket's on there. They still put it on there. So you have a nice D-ring. I do like this D-ring. A lot of them you don't find a D-ring on there to route your hoses through. If you've got a grapple on there, you don't want that hose rubbing up against there, up against the track. And it spins, right? It free spins. So that hose isn't caught up and really rubbing on the D-ring, which would be counterproductive for a D-ring. So I love that. I do like how this is constructed here. There are some different ways to construct this, but this big pin goes through here and kind of this big gusset, and we think that's going to be more durable than some of the setups that we have seen. You get a utility ring right there, and you also get some tie downs. There's 1, 2 tie downs right there. And Kubota does a good job of showing you what's a lift point and a tie down, or just a lift point on this machine. So you can actually use these as tie downs. I think those can be used as lift points. So that would be on the front of the machine. If you come back around here, I know we're talking about the boom, but I might as well show you tie down points. So you have tie downs right there that you can get to. And that really is, when you see this symbol here, that's more of a lift point. So I'm sure some guys will use that as a tie down. I'm not telling you to do that. The owner's manual, just read your owner's manual and do what it tells you to do, but you do have different tie downs here that will go along with that. The boom arm, it's just, again, I want to try to find some flaws on the machine. It's a little, you know, comparatively speaking to other mini loaders that are on the market, it's hard to find a flaw when we're talking about the booms. So, you know, I think they've done a great job with the vertical path lift design and the high 84.7 inch, and there's a lot of reach to dump into the center of the box, a lot of protection on this machine. And while we're talking about the booms and the hydraulic hoses being routed through the sleeve, we might as well talk about the hydraulic couplers here. These are flat face flush couplers. These are the same that are going to be, again, on the machine over there, which is the SCL65. The SCL1000 has that same setup. They even give you kind of the little case drain there. A lot of these mini loaders are only going to come with the male and female coupler, and that's it. So they give you a, you know, basically a big boy setup on this. So that's really it for the boom arms on here. The way that this machine is designed with this vertical lift path allows Kubota to engineer a machine that's only 3,000 pounds and has a nice light footprint and uses that leverage with the vertical lift path to achieve those high the high capacity of 1,000 pounds or more. As opposed to some other manufacturers, you're going to see this if you go shop for mini loaders. You're going to see them hang a bunch of suitcase weights off the back. Okay, you're going to see suitcase weights stuffed inside. You're going to see even underneath where they try to add more weight to the machine to achieve a lot of lift capacity. Kubota does not do that on this machine. This machine is well engineered to lift a lot of weight and have a nice light footprint. So, you know, the design of this machine achieves quite a bit. So next what we'll do is, in the next segment, we're going to go to the undercarriage, the track carriage, which is very similar to this SVL65. This is Dave Babbitt with Burke Equipment Company again. Hopefully you enjoyed the information that was in that video and you got enough information to decide whether the Kubota SCL1000 is the right choice for you. You can visit us at burkeequipment.com, visit us on Facebook, Instagram, and like us. You can also visit one of our Delaware tax-free stores in Delmar, Delaware, Felton, Delaware, and Newark, Delaware, or just give us a call. And be sure to view our playlist on YouTube for not only the SCL1000 video, but more videos to come. Thank you.